So, good afternoon, everyone. We are delighted to welcome you to another insightful session of Connecting the Dots. On behalf of HRAI, I extend a warm welcome to all our participants to today's session on the impactful topic Future Proofing Your Team Essential Skills Every Team Must Build This Year. First and foremost, our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers for joining us today and contributing their valuable perspectives to this panel discussion. Ms. Meera Swaroop, coach and speaker, impact communication and executive presence. Mr. Abhishek Gupta, head of HR and admin at ZPay. Ms. Seema Bhandarkar, head of program and alliance management at Origin Pharmaceutical Services. Mr. Shemant S.N., director at Rakuten India Enterprise Private Limited, and Ms. Radhika Niranjan, founder and CEO at RNI Associates. We are truly honored to have such accomplished leaders with us, bringing their expertise and experience to today's discussion. To know more about our speaker, you may follow them on LinkedIn. Their profiles have been shared in the chat window. For more information about HRA and our upcoming events, please refer to the links shared in the chat. It's now my privilege to introduce today's moderator, Ms. Radhika Niranjan, who will be leading this discussion with her deep insights and expertise. With that, I hand it over to you, Ms. Radhika.
Thanks, Faisal, and thanks, HRI, for organizing this wonderful panel. Indeed, with the world changing at such a rapid pace, a lot of people are worried how technology changes, especially with AI coming in, is going to impact people's employability. Every manager is thinking how to cope up with multiple generations, right? And therefore, it is extremely important for us as leaders to advise how to future-proof teams for sustained growth and development of the company. Right. So today's panel, we are joined by some very esteemed leaders, and we are going to take their mind share on how we future-proof our team. I hope the audience is very excited. We will get on immediately with the topic in the interest of time. My first question is for Ms. Meera Swaroop. Meera ji, if I have to ask you, as AI is handling more and more tasks, right? A lot of people are going to ChatGPT, Gemini for a lot of things. As AI keeps on handling more and more tasks, what are those skills, human skills, which become non-negotiable for an employee to survive? It's not the growth prospects, but even survive. So if you can share some.
Thank you, Radhika, for that question. I appreciate you jump starting with me. I work with a lot of professionals for one-on-one coaching. And in those interactions, one thing is clear. They have the competence and they have the ability to do their job. The AI will significantly support them. The competency will build. The results will be even more clear. The challenge is not, do I have enough knowledge, even at my fingertips? The challenge is, how am I dealing with it with building pressure? And when I talk about pressure, sometimes it's internally created. We're human beings. So I'm speaking about the human element. We internally put ourselves under a lot of stress to perform, to get out there. And sometimes there's external pressure. It could be a tight deadline. You're dealing with an intense stakeholder. There is just stuff happening. You're on a strong treadmill. So we're talking about pressure, and I feel the human skill that's going to be needed alongside AI, really enabling your work for you. It's building it up. At the human side, you need to be ready with emotional regulation, clear thinking while the pressure is building. Because the normal human way of handling pressure is to succumb to it, to give in to it, to just go for the first quick answer without realizing the consequences of what you're choosing. You could be getting outputs from AI. You might be getting answers and a lot of options from AI. AI might make even a decision for you. But as a human being, do you have an emotional regulation and the right ethical judgment to choose an answer that doesn't impact people or lives in an incorrect consequence? So this human skills we're looking for is emotional regulation, clear thinking, and ethical judgment. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I would like Mr. Shamant to segue from this to our question number two, which I have in mind, which is when we talk about emotional regulation, often people believe that, that comes with age and experience. How will a fresher deal with it? So, what are your thoughts on something like that? Because honestly, each individual is unique and emotional regulation can come at various stages in life.
So I think, first of all, a very nice question. I think primarily, as already the context has been set, I think AI is getting ubiquitous, and primarily it is here to stay. So I think we are getting acclimatized to it. But I think the way the journey of the AI itself is evolving. Of course, we have been hearing about I mean, the generative AI, and of course now going towards the agentic AI, which is getting more hyper localized and trying to get in more context dependent stuff. But I think one thing I think where as Miraji also talked about in terms of the human element, but if we probably take it a little further in terms of how probably the managers also need to start looking at, and how the employees themselves also need to own this up. The fundamental thing is that's where it is actually coming in terms of, I would call it as an AI orchestration. So one is where, of course, you have the AI itself playing its role, but the over and above that is where when you talk about an AI orchestration, it is basically talking about the ethics part of it, the governance, and more so the explainability. Because at the end of the day, what AI gives, it can be biased. Yeah, because it could be biased, and there could be cognitive biases as well. But at the end of the day, it's the human element who's there at the top. And that can be an employee, or it can be, for that matter, it can be a manager who is actually sitting at the top. And there it comes in terms of how does one go about doing that particular AI orchestration in terms of creating an explainability for what these particular AI outcomes are actually coming on board. And then looking at the governance and the ethics component of it, in terms, because we all know what's actually happening in the social strata with the AI coming on board, and a lot of deep fakes and a lot of other bad elements also coming in. So AI orchestration combined with the ethics, governance, and the explainability is something that becomes a key, be it for an employee or for that matter, even for a manager who's dealing with that particular employees. And the second area which I would like to touch upon is, I think with a lot of dynamism and the VUCA kind of a world that we are in, and along with AI coming on board, so I think it's very difficult to say. I mean, probably earlier it could be like 5 years or 10 years, you could probably think of what the roadmaps could be. Today, I think quarter down the line, 2 quarter down the line, uh, how the paradigm itself is going to change, I think that is becoming a challenge. And and I think even the leadership style needs to evolve. And that's where I would say, rather from a directive kind of a leadership, it could be more of a facilitative leadership, where I think we also have Seemaji, who's also Miraji, who has also been a coach. And that is where that particular coaching and the mentorship elements I feel do come on board, where it is more of a facilitative leadership that is coming on board, unlike a directive kind of model. So which could actually help in building a participative ecosystem for the employees and the manager community over there. And this is something which I say is something which needs to be built up as the elements of this particular ecosystem for us to thrive in this particular I mean the changing and the evolving the AI world.
Awesome. In fact, this reminds me, there was this saying where at one point of time we used to depend on computers. Today, everything comes out of the computer and the human element exists. So, taking ahead from here to Seema, I want to ask you, Seema, where you feel should people, whether it is an employee or a manager, actually draw the line between human intelligence and using artificial intelligence, right? Because most of the time, people are very easily looking for quick fixes. But where does the element of human responsibility come in this?
Thank you, Radhika. I think, am I audible now? I'm, my screen is a bit frozen. I'm not sure. But am I audible, Radhika?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
you're
we can
audible,
hear
Seema.
you, Seema.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's a very good question, very valid question. I mean, with my experience, I feel that as a leader, when you are, I'm in a profession for some time, where leading the people has been my primary focus. So when you do that, when the thin line between the AI and human intelligence is where you need to know what is what is appropriate to onboard, it is appropriate not to actually inculcate, and in an organization where AI driven approach has been massively growing, right? You must know to the at what point of time you will be able to um, imbibe these things very actively in the organization. So for in this VUCA world, every day it's very dynamically changing, right? So you must uh, I would feel that we all as a manager have to teach the team or drive the team. I wouldn't say that it's teaching, it's handhold them where to talk, where not to talk, how to use, how not to use. That drawing boundary is very, very important, Radhika. So that's my thought process here.
I think it's very right now. Before I give my little input, I'd like Abhishek to come in and perhaps give us a small insight on how you think AI agents are really becoming team members and collaborators rather than just tools. Because most of us have grown into the AI journey, listening to it as it's a tool, it's an aid. But now companies are actually using them as collaborators. So how do you think this change and shift has happened? And what are the challenges because of this shift in the industry that a human faces at any level?
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me on this panel. Lovely hearing all the fellow panelists, and good afternoon to everyone who's listening to us. Uh, AI, no doubt, has been a buzzword like never ever before. Especially this year starts. Uh, we should do something different this year. That what I believe and we believe at Zeppe also. We stop treating, and my idea to the team and my idea to every HR professional or everyone for that matter is to stop treating AI like a fancy search bar and start treating it like a full team member, like who shows up every day without any ego with fresh data. I mean, that's lovely, one can ask for, right? uh, this mindset I need, or I believe that we should all change, right? uh, this is simple but uncomfortable, because this is a move from I control AI to AI helps us think better than any of us alone, for that matter, right? Some of the practical tips, which I think, because I always look forward for the practical tips from these kind of discussions. Couple of things that we are trying to do is basically having a daily AI huddle, for that matter. AI first stand up, where every morning huddle, by asking that agent that, what blind spots are we missing, or what data contradicts our current plan, and, punch the holes in our plan, for that matter. That is where I think we are asking agentic AI to become more and more as a team member, right? One thing that me and my team are doing every month, if not every week, we are having one particular task, a repetitive task typically, that we want AI to take care end to end, which is the full responsibility to the AI, which is agent, nothing else, right? So, and obviously we have the guardrails already planned in the system, but we want to have that hand of ritual. Once in a week or once in a month, you can actually have which we are trying to do right now, a 30-minute session wherein uh, if any one of us can ask the AI to deliberately attack our plans, deliberately attack our favorite ideas. Nobody gets defensive. Nobody gets defensive. This idea is that let's see if we can do something better with the help of AI. Now, what mindset shift is required, or what one skill that I think my team or all of us would require, is the psychological safety around being proven wrong by a machine, because AI will definitely prove some of us wrong. Some of us maybe more wrong, some are less wrong. but that's the safety if my team has around me, around this tool, I think that can help all of us. Teams that build that habit or build this habit or will build this habit particularly, they will not just survive AI. And the idea is not to survive, at least in my ecosystem where I come from, survival is not the word. We will thrive. So we will have to out innovate people who are still scared of it. And trust me, there are people who are still scared of this, that what will happen. So this is what I believe. This is what we are trying to do. And let's see. Year is still fresh.
It's a very interesting point that you raised, that daily rituals and habits make life simpler and adapting to AI easier. In fact, one of the habits that I have seen my team do is play the devil's advocate with an AI agent. And when that happens, yes, the onus lies on the employee or my team who is writing the query, because the stronger the query, the stronger the response. Yes, it does not contain the emotional intelligence of the human being, which when it is lacking, the answers may not be 100% accurate. And sometimes AI also has a tendency to hallucinate. So it's extremely important for people to know which is the perspective we want to take and which is not, while developing a very strong, setup for relying on authentic data. So all these things put together, AI is definitely in, and one skill one needs to know as a team member or as a manager is how and when to leverage AI. So that's amazing insights from all of you. Just one question now I want to ask Neeraj. A lot of people today, including the youngsters or the elderly, are relying heavily on AI for their wellness, assuming it's an emotionally safe space to unload. How easy or difficult is this journey? And frankly, how safe is it really, if I have to answer?
Fabulous question, Radhika. How safe is AI for people's mental wellness? Okay. If any one of you have got this chance to do any deep work on any project, the minute you're doing deep work, you will tend to put a lot of thoughts and ideas that are very, very raw. And as you put it, your experience from AI would be that it would bounce back like your best friend, speaking to you as if it can read your thoughts, it can read your mind, it will articulate the message for you. And you are in that state of wonder and awe that, oh, this just knows me. This has managed to get that inner message out of me. So that delight sits in us. And I know that it can be very fulfilling. I have personally had the experience where I'm, for instance, building some content or building a certain speech, that AI can really start to use your raw content and make it much more articulate ready. That articulation can be very attractive, like I said. At the same time, bringing attention to this, I don't have hard data, but I know of this episode that happened where somebody was dwelling in this space of using AI as their therapist, to the extent that there was a time when he was telling the piece that I think I want to end my life. And I'm thinking I should call up this friend and tell them. And because AI had been having a lot of chats with them, it gave an answer saying, no, don't tell them. I'm here for you. Talk to me. Now, whoever built that AI platform did not do it with the intention that this will be the outcome. So this lesson really awakens us that as much as we can rely on this to go deeper, to get a better awareness, to get better understanding, to have more articulation of what goes on, but can we be aware that we're not getting caught in the web where our own innate decision making is still independent? That's the long story short.
That's really an excellent point, because I've seen in my line of work people entering queries, creating resumes, and with the statements that you said this and ChatGPT said this, sharing a resume for a job, which they will definitely not do.
Right.
That's
Right.
outsourcing their human intelligence completely. Right? So, taking up from here, Samanji, I got a question for you actually. Uh,
Sure.
a lot of people are emphasizing that we need to develop new behaviors, learn new skills. But the common observation across the industry is that the industry is not really, pacing up as it should. And there is still a lot of outdated behaviors where people are getting rewarded while they're being encouraged to learn something new. So, if I could request you, what are some of those outdated behaviors that schools should stop getting rewarded on to encourage them to adapt to this journey faster in future?
Well, it's a great question. I think as I was talking about the evolving AI journey, there's a lot of hardwiring that is also there in the what to say the team members, or probably the individual is actually hardwired too. Of course, I think primarily uh, changing that particular mentality itself it might take a little longer time. But I think when we talk about the kind of a behavior one probably needs to inculcate, I think it's important that one needs to have a beginner's mindset and being open to a continuous learning. Because when we talk about the AI, probably the pace at which it has been evolving, because probably just about 2025 early beginning, we had been hearing about AI getting used. Then it went into generative AI. Then we have been hearing about hyperlocalization coming in through the agentic methods. And every other day, we see a lot of large language models actually evolving up. And somewhere, uh, it is like we are getting over reliant on AI. And at the same time, when we are talking about, I would not say call it as an outdated behavior per se, but in terms of a new mindset that we need to build on, as the first is the beginner's mindset and being open to a continuous learning. Because here, what was probably relevant probably about 5 years back, or probably even 2 years, 2 years ago, I think if somebody is not open to that particular continuous learning and have that particular inquisitiveness towards being a beginner at any point in time, I think that creates what to say a setback for oneself, for an individual, or even for that matter an ecosystem, even for an organization. And the second thing is with AI, I think fundamentally it has increased the speed. Probably it has, of course, it has improved the productivity. Today things are more at our fingertips, and as Miraji actually talked about, we need to still have that particular human element, the human decisive element in us. So somewhere it is more of a trade-off between your speed and depth. And I think as Miraji was also talking about. Now, speed is really good. Of course, we are able to probably get a high level of a productive improvement. But at the same time, the outcomes which are actually coming out, are these particular outcomes more human in nature? Because if the end of the day, if we let our guardrails completely out and we are so much dependent on AI, and if there are functionalities which are directly impacting the society and the humans, then I think it's all the more important that speed at which it is actually getting proficient is important. But at the same time, one also need to have some sort of a validated understanding in terms of what kind of an explainability it is actually bringing on board. And that's an area where I would say the behavior has to change in terms of owning that particular outcome, because it should not be on the AI. It should be on an individual where he's able to create an explainability for that particular outcomes that have been coming in. Of course, one is the beginner's mindset, a continuous learning, and have an explainability in terms of what this AI has been bringing out, how impactful has it been impactful in a positive sense, or is it been creating some sort of a negative impact, primarily on the society, on an individual, or probably on the careers of an individual? That is something which I feel has to be a cognizant, which an individual will have to inculcate that is not just at an employee, I mean, across, I think, across strata in an organization. So I would say that's an area where probably a lot of things has to get evolved. I believe it is evolving, but with the way the technology is catching up and the pace at which probably the human interactions are happening, I think this particular behavior in terms of beginner mindset, continuous learning, and having an accountability and explainability in the hands of an individual becomes the most key in terms of a better employee for an evolved behavior. Is what is my 2 cents on this, please.
Interesting. One skill which cannot be replaced is emotional intelligence and resilience, and second is accountability and ownership, because that cannot be replicated by an agentic AI, however evolved it is. Very interesting insight. In fact, one question that segues from this point to Seema is, you know, I've seen a lot of people today using AI as, like Abhishek was saying, modified or enhanced search engines. And the strength of the answer relies on the strength of the prompts. So my question to you would be, are teams really losing the ability to frame their problems originally? Because there are forward-thinking AI, sentence completers, there's something which takes keywords and generates your own problems. So have we, in some ways, due to this evolution of AI, stop thinking original? What's the take on that?
Radhika, if I understand your question, you mean that is your team stopping thinking strategically, right?
Yes, because there's a lot of easy assistance available, right? Sentence gets
Yeah.
completed on its own. The search engines give you more information. ChatGPT can predict the next question. They give you a list of things do you want to understand. So, with the over reliance of AI, have we, as individuals and as have teams, stopped really thinking and framing problems more strategically individually? And of course, what's the
Mm,
impact on the team overall?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, see, with the use of AI, definitely this younger generation is, I mean, I'm facing this. They stop thinking. But I mean, if I understand, I'm having seriously a bad network here. Sorry, Radhika, but I'm trying to understand your question. If it is so, very clearly, you mean that the team is not able to think strategically, yeah, probably would answer that. Um, no, I wouldn't say that. It is not the case. So with the time evolution, younger generation may face this for some time, but even evolution will happen. And that is what for a team, as a team head, we inculcate. We always tell them that what is what is a boundary that you have to draw from AI. And as Abhishek clearly told, right, that daily call with AI tools helps you a lot to learn where we stand, where do we don't stand, and what is the strategy that we can drive, and where we what is the last thing that we have to give brain for it. I mean, I like the way Mira put it. You know how the AI actually gave an input. You know, you don't talk to your friend, you come back. I mean, I'm there to listen to you. I mean, that's the stage that the AI can also divert your mind. So that's why AI have to be used very mindfully, and that's where the team actually diverting their mind shift has to evolve, and we as a leader have to actually bring that consciousness in them, and that's the way forward, path forward going.
Awesome. So, well, my question was more related to whether people have started or are thinking more originally or relying more heavily on AI for their thought process itself, which you answered brilliantly. And one thing that I gave from here is to ensure the team is very effective, the leader plays a massive role. else the team can actually get very fragile. So Abhishek, to you, the question that I want to ask is, what is, the way in which teams can be fragility proof in 2026, and what is the role managers will play in this kind of a setup with the evolution that we are seeing, which already is in?
Thanks, Radhika. I think this is again very close to my heart. The just to revise everyone, the first thing that I talked about, the skill that particularly that because we are talking about future proofing our teams. The first thing that we talked about, the psychological safety around being proven wrong by a machine. The second thing is what we're realizing in my kind of domain is anti-fragility. So anti-fragility is not a anti-fragility means chaos is fuel, not fire. So we have to understand because there are a lot of changes, right? In 2026, we already started with a bang, like with Trump now thinking about 500% tariff on India and whatnot. So economic swings, regulation surprises, tech leaps every quarter. So this is chaos, and this anti-fragility means chaos is fuel, not fire. And teams, those as I already said, those who just want to survive will not survive. Rather, they will die for that matter, right? They will be left behind. Now, there's one thing that we are also trying, and I'm thinking through this as we speak. The one thing that we are trying to do is something called deliberate small loss training. And that's a very interesting concept. Let me explain deliberate small loss training. So let's say every quarter with your team, you do 1 day controlled failure simulation. That means there's a controlled environment. This is a simulation of a actual failure. For example, you can pick up realistic disruption like maybe a key client churn, maybe a core tool goes offline. AWS Azure goes offline almost every month now. We all know that, right? Maybe sudden compliance change or 30% budget cut for that matter. Just try to do that simulation with your team with no warning, right? Now, be with me. I'll tell you where I'm coming from or where I'm going to rather. Now, you have to force the team to solve it live. Force the team to solve it live. No escape hatch. Let things break. Let emotions flow. No doubt about it. Now you have to end this 60-minute. You have to end this 1 day thing or with a strong debrief that what actually failed. Why were we not prepared? What new strength or process emerged because it failed, right? Turn this pain into one concrete improvement that gets implemented next quarter or next sprint, whatever. You will get, trust me, you'll get a lot of good ideas for that matter. Now, if you can do this 4 times a year, team stops fearing disruption से डर हट जाएगा उनका. They start craving it because they know that after it we will get something new which is very good. Now this comes to the skill which I call it particularly comfort with productive discomfort. We all have to be comfortable with this productive discomfort. That things can go wrong, things will go wrong, things will change without our knowledge, without our preparation, anything, but we are comfortable with this. So teams that train this way just don't bounce back. But because it's volatile anyway, right? They come out faster, smarter, and more innovative than before. So that's where I think what we're trying to do. And let's see how does go again. This is again a work in motion, but I believe that these things prepare us for all the eventualities that can happen. And that's where I use the word anti-fragility particularly.
Excellent. Chaos is fuel, not fires. Super thought. In fact, one thing that comes to my mind is, each one of us have our own learning goals along with the goals that each one of us may have set in the advent of the new year. So, which is that one skill, according to each one of you, that you or your team have to learn to keep up with the pace at which the world is moving. Any one of you can take that.
Radhika, I'll jump at that. This is Meera here. The one skill that's going to make anyone in their team go really, really long and fast. Okay, long for sure. Fast, we'll see. Is the ability to have difficult, confronting conversations early. If they want to tackle firefighting, they need to know why it happens. Majority of the times, some conversations needed to have happened earlier, some clarifications needed to have happened earlier, and they didn't. So the ability to identify what are they brushing under the carpet, what are they stepping over, what are they not bringing up, whether it's personal ego or anticipated ego from the other side. The ability to have difficult, confronting, sensitive conversations early is the skill. next.
I so second it. Who's going next?
For me, it is quick adaptability. Team needs to adapt quickly to any challenges that is happening. You need to keep not pondering upon what's happening yesterday, what happened in the previous. You need to have that learning quick go, capture the failing as an opportunity and move forward. I would feel that that's something that need to be quickly learned by every single team.
Wow. Okay, Abhishek, what's your take on this?
If one skill I can say is basically on a lighter note, try not to use a lot of jargons, because as a professional, as a profession, I get a lot of memes on me or my profession that, HR people are just jargons. Talk business, talk sense, move forward. That's all we are. वो का के आगे आ गया है कल कोई Vani, there's something called Vani or Bani, somebody was telling me. I don't know the meaning. The point is
It's
that,
Bunny.
yeah, Bani, right? Something that somebody is telling me, boss, and just again, a little bit of personal, but trying to start some of your business like side hustle. Maybe I don't know whether you did it in your engineering or not. Just try to understand the entrepreneur mindset, right? End of the day, we want the business to flourish. I'm in a business. Shamant is a business. Meera, Seema, we all are. And Radhika, you run your own setup, if I'm not wrong, right? So one skill that all of us, all my teams would do, apart from all these AI and all that stuff which we talked about, just be very clear about what you want. Just be clear about what business want and deliver it. And cut the clutter, if I may say so. This is what my belief is.
Excellent. So, cut the clutter, clarity, adaptability, make sure confrontations are done at the right time. Shaman, your 2 cents on it, because I'm sure you have something very interesting to comment.
Sure. I think one of the points that I did earlier touch on upon as well is uh, that beginner mindset. I think that becomes again the key, and uh, being open to new learning, and I think what is also happening is when we talk about the I also call it as the diagnostic fluency. I mean, primarily as Mr. Abhishek was also talking about tuck. I mean, you have, I think, clutter and chaos is now becoming part of the ecosystem, to be very frank. And primarily when we talk about the diagnostic fluency is more to do with in this particular clutter and the chaos that exists, how we are able to make things happen and move forward, not giving up on that particular accountability and primarily solve for the business. Because at the end of the day, in this particular clutter and chaos, the end goal that needs to be achieved is how do we solve for things and at the same time keep up our game in terms of our learning abilities, and that has to continuously evolve. So this is something which I would put it across as the beginner mindset, the continuous learning, and in the clutter and the chaos, how do you bring in that particular diagnostic fluency in terms of being cognitive about what the problem is? Because with this AI coming on board, sometimes it also becomes difficult to decipher what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve for. So contextualizing on that particular problem and having that particular clear understanding of your KPIs in terms of how what you want to diagnose, how you're contextualized, and how you're what you're solving for, and to whom you're solving for. And with that, I call it as a Gemba mindset. In Japanese, they call it as a Gemba mindset. That is where you know your the end customers or the customer persona or the societal persona, and then try to solve it for them from their angle. I think that is one of the I would say one of the key skills that is I think that probably will be carried forward as far as the upcoming the 2026 I mean the 2026 and the upcoming quarters to go also is just my 2 cents on this.
Nice. Gemba is the Japanese equivalent to customer esteem in
Gemba
India,
is
right?
basically, yeah. I mean, yeah, Gemba is your location. I mean, being on the shop floor.
Thank you. That was something new that I learned today.
Sure. Thank you.
One thing that again I would like to ask Abhishek is with limited budgets, what delivers faster impacts, is taken as something which is interesting rather than what is the quality of the delivery. So, how do managers ensure that the faster delivery does not compromise the quality of delivery, which again sits with a question that one of our audience members have asked, that how do leaders ensure teams are thinking better with AI, not just working faster? So are there any signals that tell you what is the difference?
Very simple, very simple. People who are learning AI or starting to learn AI just see the signals of the copy paste. People typically just try to copy paste, give a prompt, have an answer and copy paste it basically. And you can actually find out the long dashes. You can find out a lot of things. Sometimes people actually copy the prompt also. So the thing that I'm trying to make is basically people who will just want to use AI just like a Google, right? Uh, if you remember a few years back when the Google started, I think 2007, we all started using Googling and we became better slowly Googling the things, right? Similar with AI, people are just trying to prompt it. For example, if my team is right now using AI to write an email, that's actually very sad because we are not in that era that you're just writing an email using AI. Right now, we are doing the entire end-to-end stuff using AI for that matter. The agentic AIs are the reality. Uh, we our tech teams are working of launching a feature on our app which within a 1 month timeline, wherein earlier only even the PRDs of any feature used to take 4 months at all, leave alone the feature end-to-end delivery for that matter. So those who don't want to think along AI, I think they are just using it for the writing an email or writing a better message or writing a congratulations message using AI. You will find out these people. The the key is if your folks are first of all take, as I think one of the gentlemen was talking about as well, having fluent in all the tools. For example, right now I can assure you, I know this is a webinar format, but I can't ask it. But if at all I can ask on the chatbot, tell me a tool which can give you the fluent video, 8 minute video. I want to create a 8 minute explainer video or 2 minute explainer video in your own avatar. Can you guys tell me a tool which does that? If at all 26 people on the call or whatever number, if you can write on chat, tool that can make a video 2 minute explainer video of a feature using my own voice and using my own avatar, which is free of cost, actually. Radhika, thank you. But not many of us know about it, right? That's the point. But do we know this? Do we all we know? So the AI fluency is all about having the right type of tool, and that's the thinking. ये सोच कर ही आता है. ये नहीं आएगा वैसे नहीं आएगा. You can just go to Gemini or ChatGPT and write something. So that's my view and what we are doing it right now as well. HeyGen is the tool. Yeah, that's correct.
One question for you. When AI is used largely for creating content, also sometimes decision making, who actually becomes truly accountable? Whether the employee who's using AI to create that information and influence the decision, or the manager or the leader who's actually taking the decision.
Very tricky question, Radhika. Very true. I mean, it's very difficult to find out, but definitely your decision making is decision making, right? I mean, you ask AI, get that sorted out and make a decision for budget. Of course, it's not going to work out like that because especially in our pharma industry, we do not encourage that. And we definitely don't adapt it. Pharma industry is looking at it in a different way. I know we are far away behind in all adaptation of AI here, but uh, because of the rules of regulations of that we follow, there is a lot of regulatory and quality that we have to adhere to. So when you say that in terms of budget decision making, it's definitely no for that, and I would definitely not recommend at all. We must think and use it because budget is budget, right?
Super. Which brings me to Meera with my question to you. What is the one attribute of behavior that managers or leaders need to get better and cannot hide behind the shield of it, given the evolution?
Pardon me, Radhika, just for my benefit, could you repeat your question?
Sure. I say that what is the one behavior attributes or qualities that managers or leaders need to get better once AIs have entered the workflows, and what is it that they cannot hide behind any shield, especially the AI generated ones?
Right. Excellent. All right. What is this one leader attribute that they could develop? I'm going to quote myself for something I said earlier. Mm. One for sure, being able to have difficult conversations early, started, being able to tell who's doing what, why did you think like that? Hey, can I just clarify this with you? Why would you do that when I asked you to do this? Having those conversations more explicitly is a leader quality for sure. The second one that I have seen in the age of AI has required to be even more is the power of reflection. Now, you can do reflection with AI. I know one of our speakers said this earlier. I think Abhishek said this. You can sit with AI and ask them to hash it out for you, be the devil's advocate, tell you what went wrong, why, how could we have done something better, etc., etc. And yes, that's a cool way to do it. But for leaders to bring the human element in and keep their own ability to think alive, as well as keep enabling the team to also think on their feet, reflecting, how could we have done this differently? And these can be prepared, these can be impromptu, but reflections on an ongoing basis would be beautifully important. And the third characteristic that I would like leaders, I did quote this earlier, I'm going to say this again. The true performance of a team gets determined by the emotional regulation that a leader brings in. As regulated that emotional leader is, the team starts to feed off the same energy. So if you're looking to really build your team, pull them up, ask yourself, how good am I in a storm? Am I the calmest? Am I the representation of what we need to position ourselves as? Yeah. Thank you.
Good. And now for the rapid fire for all of you. I'm going to be asking one question, throwing one random question at each one of you, and I need a one-word answer. Yeah. Um, One capability that HR must own and not delegate. Abhishek, this is for you.
I
One
didn't hear what
capability.
capabilities.
One capability that HR must own and not delegate.
One
What would that be?
one
Capability.
capability
Yeah.
that HR must own and not delegate.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially to an AI tool.
Conversations which require a lot of emotions and heart. For example, exit conversations that needs a little bit, human element. AI firing people will look a bit awkward, I guess. Let us do this.
Hey. Um, Tamanji, for you, one task that should never be fully outsourced to AI. From what means?
I think it's the decision making, because I would say that it is more of AI plus the human element. Because at the end of the day, who owns those particular decisions? I think that should be an area where there you have that particular human element coming in. So I would say the AI is here to thrive, but I will not say it's a boon or a bane. It's there. It would be there, and it would continue, and we are going to evolve with that. But I think it's the more, if I had to sum it up in a one word, it is like AI plus the human element together, and owning that particular the leader or for whomsoever who is actually owning it. The human element has to come in where they own the decision and bring in that particular explainability across, as I was mentioning even in my earlier conversation. So one task which would never be given into the hands of AI is don't become use AI to your benefit, but don't become how can I say, a slave to an AI. You still leverage AI, be, I mean, the AI plus the humanoid element to be brought on board for a decision making. That should be with the leader or the individual.
Okay. And Seema, one leadership behavior which you will never outsource to AI.
Leadership area that you never outsource to AI. Okay. Um, Emotional connect that or what I would say it as it's your self-awareness as a leader, dealing with the team, dealing with the people around you, how self-aware you are going to stay. I'm not going to outsource it to AI, right? So that's very important. For a leader need to be aware of yourself, what you're going to bring it on the table.
Nice. And Meera, one daily ritual which will build your skills, make you future proof, but keep you mindful of the personal boundaries that should not be breached with the evolution. One daily ritual.
One daily ritual. Radhika, I'm a big fan of this. Hands down, it's journaling.
Yeah, wonderful point. Mira, I watch for you. Journaling works well.
Yes, journaling. It could be short bullet points, simple prompts, or just go crazy on a piece of paper for 20 minutes flat. It depends on your style. But journaling will keep this churning and keep it uniquely apart from AI.
Outstanding insights from all of you here. And I'm so glad I got the opportunity and privilege to be moderating this panel. It's some beautiful information that has been received. I hope that the entire audience is making really the most of it because AI is here to stay. We are already working in an era of AI, and future proofing ourselves is the best way to stay relevant. As an HR professional with over 20 years experience, I'm now heavily leveraging AI to get my work done faster. I must say that, like the panel said, there is no substitute to the original AI, the oldest AI, which is open. Along with that, leverage everything, and I'm sure we're all ready for anything that the future holds. Thank you so much, Faisal. I hope we've done justice to time.
Yeah. Thank you, Radhika. We have one question before closing. I think we have received from the participants. That is from Nidhi. So she's saying, how do leaders ensure teams are thinking better with AI, not just working faster with it? And what signals tells you the difference? So any speaker can take that.
I think we've covered this, but
Yeah.
So, Abhishek, in fact, had covered this in one of his answers, where he said that some of the very evident signals are the copy paste mode, where you can see the prompt, what you said, what your AI has reverted, and how there are long dashes, gaps, and so on, which are very AI generated. It lacks the human element.
you're just lifting it mindlessly. You know how to play with the new toy, and you're playing with the toy, and you're just lifting the responses, not really applying anything from your side.
Thank you. So thank you, Ms. Radhika, for skillfully steering the discussion and ensuring a seamless flow of ideas and excellent engagement. We truly appreciate your dedication and commendable moderation. Thank you to our esteemed speakers. Your thoughtful reflections, practical examples, and honest viewpoints added immense value to today's discussion. The way each of you connected strategy, leadership, and human capability made the conversation both relevant and actionable for our participants. For those eager to learn and grow, the recording of today's session is available on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. Thank you to all our participants for being part of this session. Your presence made the discussion even more meaningful. We look forward to welcoming you to our next session on the topic Centered Teams, the Rise of Compassionate People First Workplace on January 15th, 2026. With that, we conclude with today's webinar. Thank you for being part of this journey. Take care and farewell for now. Thank you, dear speakers, once again. It's been a real pleasure
Thank you.
working with you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
again.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Abhishek.
Thank you.